Local production of today's edition of News 6 is made possible in part by a grant from the Toledo Edison Educational Services Program.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of News 6. This week, News 6 is brought to you by the 6th graders of Grand Rapids Elementary School, Grand Rapids, Ohio. Our first story is about a woman whose job is to respond to emergencies. Doug Sine has this story.
Thanks, Jennifer. Carol Asmus is a paramedic. She spends 24 hours on the job and 48 hours off. During her shift, she and two other paramedics are on call for Life Squad at the White House Fire Station in White House, Ohio. Carol talked with News 6 reporter Jeremy Fox about her training and how she responds to a call for help. Ms. Asmus, what kind of training did you receive to become a paramedic?
Well, the training we had to do was through MCO, and we had to have 590 hours of training, and then we had to do clinical, going into hospitals and to the Life Squad, running the Life Squads downtown in Toledo. And we have continuing education in the hospitals at all the time, now even.
What do you do when you receive a call?
Well, that's kind of complicated, Jeremy. We get a tone, and then we respond as quickly and carefully as we can to the victim. And we carry in basically 5 pieces of equipment. We carry in our med box, our airway box, a ABCOR, which is a radio to talk to the doctor with, and a life pack, which you've all seen on TV. And we use these 5 pieces of basic material or equipment to stabilize our patient. We can start IVs, we can read EKGs, we can administer the drugs, keep an open airway, and we can talk to our doctor, and he can further give us more orders or tell us exactly what to do right out at the scene. And we stabilize them right there at the scene before we start to transport them to the hospital.
Thank you, Carol, for showing us the Life Squad. This is Jeremy Fox reporting for News 6.
Thanks, Jeremy. Rick Bruley has been a taxidermist on and off for the last 20 years. News 6 recently visited his shop in Weston and saw some examples of his work. Mr. Bruley first became interested in taxidermy when he was 8 years old. Later, he took correspondent courses and attended seminars to learn the art of preparing and mounting the skins of animals to make them appear lifelike. He explained that animals are not stuffed. Body and head molds are made of polyethylene are used. Mr. Bruley explained how he mounts a deer head. First, he bolts the head to form a mounting stand. Then he removes the skin from the deer head. Next, he scrapes the meat from the hide. The skin is then stretched over a board. Then a fleshing machine is used to thin the hide so that it can be fitted over the head mold. The ears are turned inside out. An ear splitter is used to remove all the ear muscles. Then the hide is turned inside out and salted. The salt absorbs moisture from the hide. Next, the hide is tanned. The antlers are removed from the skull and they are mounted on the head form. A molding material made of paper mache is carefully applied to the head form. The paper mache replaces the meat that was removed from the skin so that the hide will fit the form realistically. Glass eyes are set and aligned properly in the sockets of the head mold. The last step is to put the hide on the form.
Thanks, Joshua. Phoebe Lemkel is the owner of a candy store called the Chocolate Mouse in Grand Rapids, Ohio. News 6 reporter Anita Ames talked with Mrs. Lemkel about how the candy is made and what makes the Chocolate Mouse different from other candy stores.
My name is Phoebe Lemkel, and I am the owner of the Chocolate Mouse shop. I think the reason that I love the shop so much is it makes people very happy. We do very special things. We hand paint with sable brushes, and when they come in, they just ooh and ah. And that is so pleasant and just thrilling to hear people discuss the chocolate and how we do it.
Mrs. Lemkel, could you explain how you make chocolate candy?
Oh, honey, we don't make chocolate. We purchase chocolate from a manufacturing factory, and then we melt it down, and we go from there. We may put centers in it, we may make hollows, we may make solids. Sometimes we paint inside of the mold, and sometimes we just mold and paint after it comes out in a form.
What makes the chocolate factory different from other candy stores?
I think that we're really different than other candy stores because every single thing we do is done by hand. We have no machinery in this shop. The only thing we have is a melting pot so that we can control temperatures, but I think this is what makes us really different.
Do you design your own candy molds?
We are now in the process of having some chocolate molds made. Yes, we have done our own designs ourselves, and we have taken them from natural sources.
Thank you for talking with us, Mrs. Lemcall. This is Anita Ames reporting for News 6.
Thanks, Anita. During the time of Christopher Columbus, an estimated 30 to 60 million buffalo roamed the Great Plains of North America. They provided food, clothing, and shelter for the Plain Indian. The Indians used every part of the buffalo for these purposes. Even the bones were used for tools, and the skulls were worshipped. In the 1880s, however, the number of buffalo had dropped from millions to only about 540 in the U.S. The invention of special rifles and the hunters' greed for buffalo hide almost made these animals extinct. Today, thanks to the efforts of private individuals, the number of buffalo is now over 60,000. Some of these individuals, like Mr. David Apple of Grand Rapids, Ohio, raise buffalo for meat. Mr. Apple talked with News 6 reporter Ken Kepling about these large, shaggy creatures.
Tiptoe to the window, by the window, that is where I'll be. Come tiptoe through the tulips with me.
Mr. Apple, why did you decide to start raising buffalo?
In 1971, we went on a vacation to Alaska, and we seen several herds in Banff National Park in Canada and in the Dakotas. And we decided we wanted some. 5 years later, in 1976, we got our first ones.
How many do you have?
We have 35 here today. We have had as high as 80 in one time.
What's the difference between a buffalo and a cow?
There's several differences. One is the animal is much more self-reliant, can depend on itself. They're very agile. They got to be treated as wild animal. And then when you get them in the market where you're eating them, the protein level of the meat is about 25% higher than our domestic beef today.
Thank you, Mr. Apple, for telling us about your buffalo. This is Kenny Kepling reporting for News 6.
Thanks, Ken. That's all for today. Join us next week when News 6 will be brought to you by the 6th graders at Lake Elementary School in Millbury, Ohio. Until then, have a good week.
Local production of today's edition of News 6 is made possible in part by a grant from the Toledo Edison Educational Services Program.